Welcome. It's time for the best segment here for a Wednesday. It's relationship, and we have with us, joining us here, certified family life practitioner Nene Ben Ikechukwu, aka NN Ben. I made that one up just now. You can use it. She's going to be discussing with us peer pressure when grade is just not enough or it's just not good enough. You're welcome, Nene. First of all,
thank you very much, Mazino. How are you doing?
I love to hear that back sometimes.
Mazino.
Thank you. Not everybody does that.
Yes.
Take a lesson. Thank you very much, Nene. My mother-in-law calls my daughter Nene. I don't know why. What does that mean?
She's a kindred spirit. She's an old soul. Very, very... Let me just give you a clue.
Okay.
That means she's really, really smart.
Oh, nice. Okay, now I get it. Welcome, Nene.
Thank you very much.
So, when grade isn't good enough, is this a finger pointing at how we are never satisfied in relationships? I don't know. You tell me. I might be wrong.
Well, sometimes our best efforts or what we think is best for us sometimes may just be us trying to, deal with some form of pressure or trauma or any kind of experience, actually. But even though it may seem right at the initial instance, but we need to sometimes look back and see what is the driving force or the influence behind decisions that we make. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Now, give us an instance of this. Maybe let's take a couple as an example. Give us an instance that would apply to this topic.
Yeah. So let me give you a very light instance, okay? So sometimes in relationships, we wonder why we always, for instance, want constant reinforcement of our effort. I want you to keep telling me that I'm good. And if anything looks like a criticism, I will challenge it. So in that instance, it may seem, everybody wants to be told that they're doing the right thing. But if you look at why you always seek validation or seek some form of reinforcement of what you're doing, it could be as a result of some pressure that you have been under, or maybe at work sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, at work, if you always feel like, I actually moved this chair, nobody noticed my effort. Why is that so? Sometimes it could be pressure from, always wanting people to validate you or even lacking validation sometimes.
That sounds like narcissism. So that means everything we go through outside of our relationship actually has an impact or influences our relationship. Absolutely. And how we deal with our partners.
Absolutely.
That could be a bad thing now, couldn't it? It is, in fact.
Well, if you put it at being bad, unconsciously, there are things that we call sponsored thoughts, right? So you may not even know. That's why it's always it's always ideal to be careful of your nuances and expressions. So if you notice some characters in people, you have to find out why they behave the way they do. Sometimes it's very interesting to know that a lot of things that we do from an unconscious state. So if you, for instance, you're used to driving here every morning, sometimes unconsciously you just do it, you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing. Autopiloting, exactly. That's the same thing with some behavioral patterns that we have. You just find out you're doing it, you don't even know how or why you're doing it.
Let's take a very short break. We're going to come back. I got a series of questions for you regarding this. I'm going to ask a question following from the others. Is this is going to sound like battle of the sexes, but is this a male phenomena or is this a female phenomenon?
Actually, Mazino, it's not gender specific.
It's not gender specific,
yes,
is it?
Yes. Sorry to bust your bubble, but it isn't.
Okay.
It isn't gender specific. Yeah.
Okay.
It can be. Experiences are not gender specific. People have different things that make them who they turn out to be.
But as men, we often want to think that it's the women who are always seeking for this kind of attention or validation mostly. We don't see ourselves actually being that one. But like you're saying, yeah, there are points when I have actually noted personally that I'm looking for certain kinds of validation from my wife and I'm not getting it. But how do I, as a person who's seeking for that validation, handle that instance when I'm realizing that perhaps maybe I'm seeking for a bit too much validation? Or how do I handle it when I see that from my partner, that this validation you're asking for, what's your problem now? Am I not loving you enough?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah. So a popular Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, it's intelligence to know others, which is very good. It's good to know your partner. However, it is wisdom to know yourself. So when you are noticing that, I don't want to call it, it's not notice that change or that difference. Always find out or ask yourself, why is this a problem? And how can I deal with it in the best way possible? Because at the end of the day, it's not a competition. Nobody is looking to win in the relationship. When we have a win-win situation, then we have a healthy home, we have a healthy relationship. I'm able to see the good side of you. You know, the problem is most times we are always tilting towards what is not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I think
where
you're
it
very
is.
correct. I came to that thought recently where it's like, you can't always have a dispute in a relationship to win. Because if you
Exactly.
win, that means your partner loses.
Yeah.
So perhaps maybe have conversations where it's based on understanding instead of, I'm trying to make you understand that I need validation and you're not giving it to me.
Absolutely.
You know, but it's still a very difficult compromise to make, especially as African men. Sorry, I called this out there. But yes, now as the African man, what suggestion, what pill would you give to us to swallow when it comes to noting that this is the situation and this is how to accommodate it?
That's where, you know, the pressure, the great part of pressure is. Recently, there was this baseball, I know we don't play baseball here, but yeah, so there was this guy, you know, a Japanese guy that, you know, he's very popular in Japan. And he, you know, they won the WBC, right? And, you know, it's so much impacted on a lot of people. Everyone wants to play baseball. Like the coaches are very impressed with the turnout of people that want to play baseball. That's the same way it is with influence. So as a man or a lady, when you look out, sometimes unconsciously, there are things that, you know, impact you positively. However, in the midst of those things that impact you positively, find yourself. So that you're not becoming an imposter or looking at, you know, doing things because this is what everybody is doing. There are right things to do. There are positive people that you can look at. There are different types of influences or pressure. But when you look at the positive aspect of it, look for things that, you know, you can draw from as opposed to copy from. Yeah.
Why is validation such a big issue, though? Why is it such a big factor in relationships? If I subtract validation, is my relationship still wholesome?
That's a very good question, Mazino.
Oh, thank you very much.
So when you, it's just like you coming to the studio and your hair is not combed.
Oh dear, I've got my comb right here.
Yeah. So how would you feel if everybody's
Very awkward.
staring? You feel awkward,
Yeah.
right? And that's the same thing. Unconsciously, we seek validation. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But beyond the validation you seek from outside, validate yourself. Yeah. Validate
Starts
yourself.
inside.
So it just complements what you believe in yourself. Yeah.
That gives you the confidence. to go on.
Exactly.
It's the foundation, actually.
Exactly.
I can't put it any better. Thank you very much, Nene. It's
Thank
always
you,
such
Mazino.
an interesting pleasure to have you on. And I'm
Thank you.
hoping that we're going to still have you on again and have more conversations on this.
Absolutely.
Because I think we need to learn more love. It's the word I preached this morning. And of course, you do too.
Thank you.
Alrighty, do stay tuned because...